Hold the Mayo. It's time for Mike Mayo's Lunchbox. Find out what's being served with Mike, Defo, and Lubie, the only show that covers food, sports, and the proper maintenance of your car. And now, a man who had the distinction of having an entire health clinic named in his honor, Mike Mayo.
I want the flim sauce with the awesome fave, with shafafa on the side.
Hey, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to a special edition of the Lunchbox, a Festivus edition. Today, December 23rd, the completely made-up fictitious holiday from the folks at Seinfeld. It is Festivus for the rest of us. And we have joining us today a special guest to help us celebrate. We're going to have some talk of, well, there's going to be airing of grievances, which is one of the traditions. There'll be talk about meatloaf. I don't have any actual meatloaf to eat, which is the traditional Festivus meal. And then there's also feats of strength, but I'm pretty weak today, so I don't know about any of that. Yeah. But we got Jeff Defo Forest, Mike Lubie Lubitz, and welcome, two-time James Beard Award-winning writer. Not that I'm resentful of that on Festivus. I have no grievances with the Beard Committee. But Carlos Frias, welcome back to the Lunchbox. How are you today, my friend?
Good. Happy to be here, Mike. Happy to be here with Lubie and Defo and just having a good Festivus, man.
All right. Well, we've got some unfinished business from yesterday. I never did get to the contest winner, Lubie, because I was so out of sorts doing a show on a Monday at our friends at Gilbert's with Lenore Gilbert. But we'll get to that in a bit. But I actually want to start with some happy Festivus news. I mean, every day, usually when it relates to anything relating to the federal government, and there is some unhappy, actually it's perfectly timed for Festivus, the fact that the Trump administration just announced that they're going to start garnishing the both paychecks and bank accounts of people who have student loans or either behind in default or whatnot. But I don't want to start with that. I want to actually start with some happy news, because this was a story relating to the restaurant world. And I don't know if you were paying attention to this, Carlos, but the general manager, longtime general manager of Biche restaurant up in Palm Beach, his name is Jose Gonzalez, Mexican national who's been in the United States for 30 years. He was detained after a traffic stop with his nephew on December 10th, and then he was taken to what's known as Alligator Alcatraz. And it was unclear why he was being held, if it was something related to a past criminal or some sort of judicial system matter, or just his paperwork wasn't in order. But I am happy to report that he has been released from Alligator Alcatraz and is now free again. I don't know what its status is in terms of immigration, if he needs to do things, but this was a very popular gentleman who knew a lot of people on the island of Palm Beach, where you used to work at the Palm Beach Post, right, Carlos? So I didn't know if you knew him or knew of this story, what your thoughts on the matter was.
I mean, it always just seems like there's a new reason. There's a new low, right? Like we find a new low, there's a lower deck below that. And I think, every one of these just lets the floor move a little bit lower so that they can keep harassing people to the point where I don't know where it's going to end up. I don't want to be cause a panic to say where this is going to end up, but we've seen things like this happen before in other places, and I can't feel that within the 10 months we're at rock bottom yet. I think.
Yeah.
Right.
That's the scary part.
This is just like not even the first year yet. And
we're picking wars with Greenland.
I mean, I have friends and family, I'll say, who've been, who've had their Spanish citizenship, some for years, some who have been scrambling to get it. Spain has seen more citizenship applications from descendants than they ever have in the history of this program that they started for descendants. And now the current administration is saying that they're going to force people to choose their citizenship. Like you are no longer going to be able to be allowed to be a dual citizen.
You can't have dual. I didn't hear that one yet. I've heard about this.
A couple weeks
heritage.
Something like this floated.
I've heard of heritage citizenship. I don't know how many generations are going to go back, because I'm only twice removed from the old country, which in my case is both Russia, Ukraine, Poland, and parts of Hungary. But Yeah, I mean,
It's
look,
just out and out racism. What is heritage citizenship? You know what I mean? Like, do only Native Americans should have heritage citizenship? You know, like, what do you mean? You were the first to come to like co-opt this land? I find that I've heard that term used over the last couple months more than I ever have. And again, it's just sliding these little terms in to start clearing the divide between people. And I don't know how we got on this, but
well, because
airing of grievances.
airing
So
of grievances, but again,
we're in the
because
right
it
place.
relates to
But yes,
food, in the fact that this is not some, and not to demean dishwashers or people who've just freshly arrived in the last month or two, but it's not like some newly hired dishwasher that got picked up. This is a guy who's been entrenched in the community, in the restaurant and hospitality business. I think he ran a side a venture. He had a taco truck besides being the general manager of Beach. And Beach is again one of the fanciest restaurants on the island of Palm Beach on Worth Avenue. And is this what people voted for when people were saying the worst of the worst and the violent felons and criminals? A guy who maybe had a traffic, ticket or some sort of, I don't know what he might have had in his past, but the fact that he's going to get actually dragged off to Alligator Alcatraz, and the accounts from his family was that he was shackled and eating off the floor. So that's not quite the the Carpaccio at Biche there. And again, it's not to make light of the situation, but who's next? And who it could be, it's the people who have been in part of the community, paying taxes, having houses, paying rent to landlords, or paying mortgages to banks. These are not people who are not, just as are been told, or that the voters were told that it's the worst of the worst. And I'm totally going off because it's a rare home show and we haven't had a chance to discuss some of these things. And I know Defo, you in particular, are upset about the corruption and co-optation of some of our journalistic bedrock institutions like 60 Minutes, right?
Pathetic. I mean, the whole thing is just pathetic. Where it's going, Carlos, I think you hit it on the head. We haven't even reached rock bottom. 10 months into not even a daily series of atrocities, but multiple atrocities on a daily basis that should turn anybody off. And as they say now, after the 60 Minutes thing, we know Gil Scott Heron was right. The revolution will not be televised. And that these guys are responsible. It's just heinous. That would be my biggest beef, but I don't want to cast a dark cloud over the show here by going in this direction. Because I have a bigger beef, actually, much more.
Go ahead, yeah. And if you want to,
well, I don't know if you want to get into that right away. I mean, you still had this thing going with this poor guy, but I mean, it was good. I did see the 60 Minutes piece. It's been circulating.
Oh, okay.
Last night, and you can catch it online. I happen to see it posted a few different places on Facebook, and I was able to watch it. There was no reason to pull this piece, 0.0. They mentioned many times that they had extended the opportunity to be interviewed by any member of DHS or the Trump administration, and they all declined. Horrible decision to pull that. You guys are both in the newspaper business. Lubie's been in journalism, essentially, if you could call sportscasting journalism. For a long time. I mean, there was absolutely no reason for them to have any panic whatsoever about the piece. But I did feel a lot safer because they yanked that Venezuelan gay hairdresser and put him in CCOT to be tortured. This poor schmuck. I mean, just was doing makeup on somebody one day, and wow, what they subjected him to. Horrifying to actually see the people going through the horror of what they experienced. And for no reason whatsoever. I mean, this guy didn't even have a traffic ticket. There was another guy who had a tattoo of a crown that was from Real. He was a Real Madrid fan. He was a soccer player. Their emblem has a crown on it over a soccer ball, which is what he had tattooed on his arm. So they immediately identified him as MS-13 and threw him in the same spot. It's so despicable and draconian. I was talking about it this morning. I think French prisoner Papillon was under better conditions than these guys.
Let me ask Carlos this, because you are down in the 305 and you're in the the community of a lot of different Cubans, the Cuban diaspora, now Venezuelans, Haitians, people who are losing temporary protected status. Do you know anybody personally who has now been kind of taken away or is in being held, or what's the mood in your sphere?
Well, I will. The mood is really grim. I have a very close friend of the family. I don't want to get too specific with it, but where she shops is a CVS up in North Miami Beach, and she was just going to go do her shopping there. And as she's driving over, the place is swarmed with ICE agents. And she's a Cuban national with U.S. citizenship, going back 30 years. But as we've seen, that's not stopping anybody. That's not stopping the government from just grabbing people, when violating all habeas corpus rules, and just dragging them off into into the hinterlands. So these folks get so she literally turned around and went home and couldn't do her shopping. Like this idea that this is waiting for you around the corner. And a lot of us walk around and we say, maybe we don't like to maybe we harp too much on this stuff, and maybe we need a break from this. Like we watch football and we don't want to see it on football, and maybe we talk about food and we don't want to talk about it during food. Maybe we'll go to dinner. Or we have a dinner party and we don't want to talk about it at a dinner party. Well, when are we going to talk about it?
When do you talk about it?
Right?
Yeah.
When like how right? When do you talk about it? So the point is, you talk about it all the time. It just becomes part of the conversation until we can't stand it. We can't stand it enough to the people that are instituting it are not in a position to do that.
Right. And is this really what people voted for? If it is, I'm a little bit chilled about what America has become, because that's not how it was presented on the campaign trail. And you know what? Again, I've said it before and I'll say it again. For those who want to see how quickly things can change in a civilized society, just read Elie Wiesel's Night. And with brutal efficiency and speed, they will see how things changed in the 1930s.
Well, especially when, again,
Germany.
and I know we're going to move on, but especially when facts are debated.
Right.
There are certain things that can be debated. Opinions can be debated, and emotions can be debated, and even the weather at times gets debated. Facts are facts. But the fact that we live in this world where we have the actual government denying facts, that is how these things happen. That is how these types of regimes, because we're not allowed to talk about kinds of regimes, which I don't understand why that's illegal all of a sudden. But that's how these types of regimes take over, is when the facts become disputed. And they've had a war on facts for over 10 years. And they've now got news organizations, not rush them, fine, whatever. I don't care. I don't go to them for news. Actual news outlets that have the name news in them to take away facts.
What Sharon Alfonsi said, which is when you allow the government to essentially have a kill switch by saying no comment, we don't want to do an on-camera interview, well, then that's handing them a power that the founding fathers never intended. And I think, again, Carlos and I especially, we worked in many facets of a newsroom, including the hard news sections. And that is just, we give everybody the opportunity to have a comment, to say what their point of view is. But if somebody declines comment and says, I'd rather not speak to you, we're still going to go with what we know. And it goes for any part of the section of the newspaper, whether it's the sports section or whether it was food and the food restaurant critiques, because I would always get in touch with owners and chefs and go over my experience before publication. And usually, they would talk to me and I would incorporate some of what they said into my critiques because it was a more balanced thing. But if somebody didn't want to talk to me and said, screw you, I'm still going to write what I write. And the fact that when we have, things relating to hard hitting, big issues that goes to the crux of the Constitution, we're in scary times. And I thank everybody in the audience who indulges us. There's some times where you just, again, a home show is the appropriate venue. I'm never going to do it in a restaurant with one of our, sponsors or anything like that, because we try to be apolitical. But like you mentioned, Carlos, there comes a point where, silence is acquiescence, and it's just, it is frustrating. All right. Well, that's the biggest grievances of all, but let's get down to back the silly stuff in the food world. And let me first do a contest winner, because I guess there's some grievances among audience members of who won the freaking Sunday brunch contest this week, Mike? Well, we have the answer. And first of all, let's go over the things. We were looking for a restaurant where meatloaf is a specialty, because meatloaf is, according to the Seinfeld writers who created Festivus, meatloaf is the traditional entree for Festivus, which is today December 23rd. And one of the better meatloafs in town, in Broward anyway, is a place called the Mason Jar Cafe. I don't know if you've ever been there, Carlos, or
I
do
have
you?
not. I
Okay.
have not, but I do like a meatloaf. I do like a good
Do you
meatloaf.
make meatloaf, or do you know of any places offhand, diners,
No,
dives?
it's well, meatloaf is not in my wheelhouse, but usually I'll have it like it's funny. I have this one aunt who's as as Cuban as the palm trees, and she's a great cook, and she has made. I remember she's made meatloaf for all my life growing up. My aunt Gladys, so shout out to her. She makes an amazing meatloaf, like compared
Nice.
to a lot of the ones I've even had at restaurants and
Does
whatever. She
ketchup
makes
belong
great.
in meatloaf? My mom used to make a meatloaf,
On
and
the
she would
top.
I
actually
think
blend
so.
On the
ketchup.
top, it has to have the ketchup layer.
I think
Okay.
so. I think it needs some kind of like ketchupy kind of glaze. I think.
Yes, the
Yeah.
glaze. Sorry, glaze.
Yeah. Yeah.
Was meatloaf part of your family's retinue growing up, Defo?
I'm a huge meatloaf fan. I really am. There was a time though that I couldn't eat meatloaf. I had seen the movie House on Haunted Hill in its original form. This was at the Strand Theater in Brooklyn, New York. And I might have been at the Majestic. That was a place where we used to buy the hardest candy possible and fire it around the theater. We were a little mischievous as kids, so we always bought jawbreakers. But one of the faces in the horrible scenes in House on Haunted Hill, which probably was a pretty tempered movie by comparison to horror flicks today, it probably looked like a cartoon. The face reminded me of the texture of meatloaf. And so there was a period of time where I actually denied myself eating one of my favorite foods, which is meatloaf.
Mm.
I would say it's good both ways. I prefer it with kind of a ketchup glaze,
Mm.
but it's good with brown gravy also. And
Mhm.
it's good just by itself if it's
Yeah.
made right.
Well,
Needs onions, that's for sure.
well,
Has to have some infiltration of onion flavor.
yes.
And I like it in any format. I like it on sandwiches. I like it straight up.
Yes.
I used to go to Winn Dixie, believe it or not, on a Saturday when I was coming back from doing a show, and I had a craving for meatloaf, and they had like a pre-made meatloaf from their sort of deli counter. I guess they made it fresh, but it looked like it was packaged from some company. And I loved it. And then, unfortunately, I read the ingredients in this particular version of meatloaf.
Don't ever read
No.
the ingredients. No.
Oh my
No.
God! You may as well have been eating liverwurst. It was so sick. I'm amazed I'm alive today. But I like it, and the Mason jar attracts me because they also are known for having a great chicken pot pie.
Yes.
So I'm going to have to get over there. I haven't been
Mason's.
there in a long, long time,
Yeah.
and they have two of my favorite sort of guilty pleasures when it comes to.
Now, first of all, compliments to you, Defo. The phrase "infiltration of onions" is a wonderful food phrase. You could be a food writer.
Yes.
No, I don't have the lingo like you guys do. I mean, I had the lingo for sports when I used to write sports, and it just kind of came together, and that kind of helped me in my broadcasting because I was able to think in sentences and a little bit expand the vocabulary a little bit. But you guys have a real gift when it comes to describing.
And these days, I tend to just think in curse words. That's where we've landed. A couple of things. So the Mason Jar Cafe, as you mentioned, I've been there. I think just once or twice. I've had the chicken pot pie there. It was wonderful. I've also had they have like one of these turkey and like cranberry sandwiches. But the thing with their meatloaf, and I'll have to try it because I do like meatloaf, but they have it both in sandwich form, and there's something to be said about like meatloaf just on like plain Wonder Bread or something
White
like that.
bread with ketchup,
Yeah.
That's it.
ice cold. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
and
yeah.
then they also have the entree where it's served with the potatoes and the vegetables and perhaps the brown gravy. But yeah, Mason Jar Cafe was the restaurant we were looking for last week. It's right there on Federal Highway, just south of Oakland Park Boulevard, tucked away in this little strip mall. So go check that out if you're a meatloaf fan and you're looking for a Festivus.
Yeah, you ever
feast.
go to a place? I don't want to mention any names here because I actually like this place, but they serve a meatloaf special, and I've dabbled in it occasionally through the wife. Would bring it home, and this isn't fishtails, by the way. So I mean, their stuff is great. But on this particular dish, the gravy seemed like it came from a guy doing an oil change out back in the park,
Oh, the
and that can ruin it right there. You know,
Well,
plus
that's no
instant
good.
mashed potatoes is a real.
Yeah, you need a good gravy. All right, moving on. The second part of the contest was the horse race. It was the Suwannee River Stakes for fillies on the turf, and the race was won by. It was a 10-1 shot, but started off in the morning line at 7-2, which is why many of our viewers had it. Actually, I think a total of 10 people did pick the correct horse. Number 4, Creval de Oro. I don't know what Creval means in French. I know de Oro is gold, so it's a
Cheval would
golden.
be horse. So I
Well,
don't know.
it's not Cheval. It was
Yeah.
Creval, and I didn't look it up on my Google machine yet. But anyway, number 4 ended up paying $22, but there were I think 7 or maybe even 10 people that advanced to the Texas A&M tiebreaker, and we congratulate our winner who nailed the win by the exact 7-point margin, and that would be Maria Frandina. Congratulations. You and a guest have won an all expense paid brunch for 2 at fabulous 10 Palms at Gulfstream Park in where is it? Hallandale Beach. That's right. And we're going to be there.
Handicapping shows.
What's
I
that?
mean, she nailed it with the point spread right on the head. I mean, with the underdog prevailing by 7.
Yes. Good. It was a job well done.
I'll tell you that. It's
All
great.
3 components. I mean, the point total, she was a little off. She thought it was going to be
And
a
had a
higher
10 to
scoring
1
game.
shot on top of that? Mayo,
Yeah.
who is this woman?
Maria Frandina, I actually think she owns and runs a produce stand in Fort Lauderdale, Swinging Bananas, because
But
she
top
has.
notch. Because
Yeah,
this
and Maria has not won the contest in over a year. I think this is her 3rd overall victory,
Oh, wow.
and she's been here from the beginning, ever since. And they said it wouldn't last. We're coming up. I mean, we just surpassed, I think, 3+ years of doing contests, which is incredible when you think about it. That's it. But
a lot of wrestling.
these people get it, and they get all of the aspects of it, including the horse race handicapping. So, and we're going to be back.
At Gulfstream on Saturday, by the way.
What's that?
My favorite horse won on Saturday.
Oh, Skippy
Longstocking.
Longstocking.
Skippy
I was
Longstocking
screaming
still
in the ear of a friend of mine, "Come on, Skippy!" In honor of the dog.
The name of his dog is
I
Skippy.
love, yeah, so I love this horse, Skippy Longstocking. I had a great career, by the way, way in
For years,
excess
this
of
has been
pedigree
right.
with the Jets. And I'm screaming in Big Al's ear, my friend Big Al, come on, Skippy, because he knows Skippy also. Got him a hamburger one time, and Skippy fell in love with him. And sure enough, I didn't realize that he needed the horse that got nosed out by Skippy Longstocking to hit the big 6.
Oh,
So it wasn't quite over yet, but that eliminated him. So he's like, I got this asshole screaming in my ear the whole time. Come on, Skippy. What kind of place is this? So it can work both ways when you're rooting for a horse with a guy. But I was happy about that.
I'm glad that yes, your dog's namesake came in, and
Yes.
usually most of my horses lately have been running like dogs, but that's okay. That's another story. Been on a little bit of a tailspin. I lost to the professor. We did double or nothing straight up on no money line, and of course Texas A&M looked like complete. It looked like the ghost of Tua has inhabited the Texas A&M quarterback. Boy, did he look futile at the end.
I was gonna say I looked at it was like the 3rd quarter. I'd watched most of that game, kind of popping in and out of it, and I thought, does anyone think either of these teams is the best team in the country? Are either of these team national championship teams? No,
Wind
they're not.
was a 4-letter
No.
word, though. I think the wind was so prohibitive. I know you guys.
Yeah, that's true.
It did mess.
I forgot
Creation
to
of
think
ball
about
in the
that
wind
last
when it's just like 40 miles an hour. And
Well,
It's
you
that
shoot the
UM
ball and you
offense-
aim it at the basket and it lands at the free throw line. When
yeah. Or when you play tennis, when you play tennis in March, Defo, and you hit the, like a little bit of a lob shot, and it just keeps going and going.
Well, golf too, where you golfers.
golf.
I know that.
I always used to blame the wind. In fact, wind is a 4-letter word in golf. That's for sure, especially if you're talking about the tournament at Doral. But I think that compromised the offense quite a bit, both sides.
Well, you might not think either of these teams are going to win a championship, but our friend the professor Ken is really bullish on UM's prospects of knocking off Ohio State. I think he's been smoking the good stuff, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, that's not it. That UM team does not have a great offense. They do not have the best offense,
No.
the strong enough offense to win it. I just don't
Their
think
offense
so.
is average.
But they do have some young talent in Malachi Tony and Mark Fletcher, who both, by the way, went to my daughter's high school. Alma mater is American Heritage, a football factory with places like Chaminade and St. Thomas. But all right, anyway, so congrats to UM. We'll see what happens in their next game. Carlos, before we take our first break, I want to just let you talk. What have you been up to lately? And before we get into the full Festivus airing of grievances later, just what's been happening in your world? You've been working on anything fun? I've seen the Times have done a lot of roundups of like best dishes of the year and things like that. Did you contribute anything to those?
I mean, this what you get in December is basically everybody's roundups, everybody's best of, everybody's laying on the couch and thinking about some of the best stuff that they had this year. I didn't participate in the Time stuff, but I read a lot of them, and I wrote something for Financial Times about folks who were coming into town for Art Basel and such.
Basel,
That was my last contribution to them. Frankly, one of the things, there's two things that I'm working on, but more personally. One is every Christmas Eve, and we can talk about this in the next segment if it's easier for you. But every Christmas Eve, we do a lunch at my house, and then my daughters go to their mom's for dinner. We've done that for years, and it's always been a non-traditional Nochebuena for us, a Christmas Eve, Cuban Christmas Eve, because they're gonna have the pork and the rice and the yuca with mojo at their mom's, and I don't want to double them up, so we always do something non-traditional. We do like we've done pizza one year, like homemade pizza. We've done homemade tacos. We've done all kinds of sandwiches, of course, right?
Yeah, your sandwich press gets a workout.
Absolutely. The sandwich press is always at work. And this year, I can get into the details after, but we're gonna do I thought it'd be fun to do a feast of the seven fishes as a lunch, like a feast of the seven fishes lunch, so I can go through some of my
What are your fishies, and do you combine some in one dish, like doing a seafood fra diavolo, so you can knock off like 4 or 5 at once? And I don't know if that's cheating.
Seven separate fish dishes, but since it's a lunch, we're keeping not too much, like one hot food and the other different kind of mixes. So we have we're doing like a smoked fish dip, we're doing a tin fish, like a nice it's like a chili oil marinated trout, like a smoked trout. We're doing salmon carpaccio.
Very nice. Do you have different purveyors, different items? Do you have to go to like 3 different fishmongers or a market? Or...
You know what? We've gotten a lot of the good fresh fish from Costco. The fish is really good. They have a pretty nice variety of fresh stuff, especially since we're going to buy stuff and we say, well, we'll keep some for use later in the weeks or later in the month. But we've got a lot of fresh fish from there. Like I got these really beautiful cuts of sea bass that I'm doing a ceviche with, which I've been prepping this morning, just like the garnishes to get ready to make the leche de tigre for the ceviche. We're doing like a whatchamacallit, like a sashimi, kind of over nigiri, doing little rice balls and putting the fresh sashimi over the top. And I think we're going to finish with a curried cod over some white rice.
Wow, look at that. This is why he's a 2-time James Beard Award-winning writer. That is
you doing this at your house?
It's mostly uncooked. Most of it is uncooked.
Yeah, but it's all fancy stuff that takes time to do. I mean,
still good. That's very, very artful. Well, I had a feast last night. It was to wrap up Hanukkah, because actually it wasn't any more nights of Hanukkah, but it was the conclusion of the final day of Hanukkah. So I did my annual Latkes Fest, where I actually by hand grate potatoes, onions, mix it together with some egg and a little bit of flour. I don't use matzo meal. Salt, pepper, white pepper. Very simple. And then you make them, fry them up. But I did, instead of the Feast of the Seven Fishes, I had the Feast of the 4 Caviars. I got... I did, besides some smoked salmon with my latkes, because applesauce and just sour cream was for... I don't want to denigrate anybody, but for just for the common people, the plebes, I raised it up a level. I had smoked salmon with creme fraiche, with some dill and capers. We also had some thinly sliced brisket that you could do on top of a latkes with some gravy. And then for the pièce de résistance, I went to a place. It's an international food market run by Russians. It's out of New York. It's called Net Cost Market. And there's one of them in Oakwood Plaza in Hollywood. And they have a spectacular assortment of, not just like things like pierogies and hot dishes, mantis, which is also a stuffed dumpling. They have a full like seafood display. They have unbelievable variety of fish, both smoked and basically, fresh fish. But they have this little caviar bar section of the seafood counter where there's all these different types of caviar, including, the Russian, the Osetra, the Siberian sturgeon. And we got a mix of 4 different caviar tins, and you put a little creme fraiche and some caviar on top of a potato latkes. that was good. And I posted some pictures on the Let's Eat group this morning, and people were drooling, and I definitely made people jealous, which is what I like to do sometimes. So
I saw that photo, and I meant to ask you about it, because that caviar on latkes that's a chef's kiss right there.
I am taking it to a whole new level, because that's the type of what's the word you use, Defo? It's insufferable. That's the type of insufferable foodie
caviar to be even more overrated than the stone crab.
Oh no, I like it. You got to get the good stuff, my friend. A little bubbly on the side.
Yeah. I mean, the caviar pie at the Cafe Max is probably the only time I ever indulge in any caviar. That's a great dish, because mostly you can't taste the caviar.
Caviar pie.
Yes. No. I mean, they bring it out. It's not like, I don't want to denigrate their
there's a ton of caviar on it.
Foodie instincts.
It's a great dish. Have you been there? It's caviar pie, where it's a lot of like a sour cream and egg base. It has all the components.
It's great. No, it's fantastic.
A ton of caviar on top.
It's a good dish.
I used to look forward to these parties. A friend of ours at the time you would throw, because Chef Oliver would show up, and it was mandatory that he brought a caviar pie. And that thing went first. I mean, it was absolutely fantastic. But in general, I could live without ever eating caviar again. I don't know about you. Throw that latkes in some sour cream, Mayo, and save the caviar.
Well, now that Lubie has a newborn, he won't be seeing caviar for years.
And that's the other part of it. You got to pay a fortune for this stuff.
It was a pretty penny, but there's some things worth the indulging for. Carlos, are you a caviar fan? Do you ever partake in?
Yeah, I gotta say, it was about 15 years ago when the first time I had it, and I was doing something. There was some event on some Worth Avenue, like jewelry store in Palm Beach, on Palm Beach Island, and I forget the reason I was there for it, but they had caviar out, and I had it for the first time, and it was apparently like the really good stuff, and I was blown away. I was like, it's good. Okay, this is great.
Now you really understand. Great. Yes. Yeah. And I love the Let's Eat group, because I posted a Festivus thing asking people to bring me their grievances, and I posted the pictures of the latkes with the caviar, and of course somebody chimed in. He says, I get annoyed when I see caviar served with metal spoons instead of mother of pearl. And of course I didn't have any mother of pearl spoons last night, so shame on me, but it still tasted pretty darn good. All right, we got to take our first break. Before we do, let's talk about the upcoming Visit Lauderdale Food and Wine Festival. It is going to be right after the holidays, but a little bit later this year because of the national championship college game that's going to be in town on the 19th. That's also the night of the kickoff event that's sold out at Reno's Heritage Restaurant in Fort Lauderdale. But the rest of the week, still plenty of tickets remain for some of the seminars and classes. A lot of the intimate dinners around town are sold out, but tickets remain for our friends at Juan's on that Wednesday night, along with Even Keel Fish Shack. And if you use the promo code Lunchbox when you book your tickets online at vlfoodwine.com, you'll get an extra 15% off the already low ticket prices. And that 15% discount code Lunchbox is also good for the big events, the 4 days and nights of great food. The Asian themed walk and roll event on Thursday, the barbecue at the beach event on Friday, the grand tasting on Saturday, and the brunch at the beach on Sunday. Again, tickets are going fast. I think the grand tasting is going to be a complete sellout soon. The VIP tickets have been long gone, but go online, vlfoodwine.com. That's VL for Visit Lauderdale, foodwine.com, and use that promo code for extra savings. All kinds of great activities. And also on Sunday later in the day, there's going to be a family day, and that's free. And that's the only event where the kids and the under 21 crowd can gather. And there'll be all kinds of demonstrations and also food trucks at that Sunday later in the day free event. But meanwhile, get your tickets now. It makes a perfect stocking stuffer, last minute gift for the food lover in your life, VL Food Wine. All right, let's take that first break, and then we'll come back and we'll get to some more grievances, and we'll see what else is on the plate today with Carlos Frias and a home edition of the Lunchbox. When people come to me and say, Mike, where should I go out to eat? I got guests coming from out of town. Where should we go? Cafe Seville. That's the answer. 2768 East Oakland Park Boulevard. It's a Fort Lauderdale perennial. serving the finest in Spanish and continental cuisine in a cozy, friendly, comfortable setting. Joey Esposito and Sally, his better half, they've been running the place for a long time. It's been open since the 1980s. They got great Spanish classics like paella, shrimp with garlic sauce, and all kinds of great seafood dishes. The stuffed veal chop, oh, that's my favorite. Go to Cafe Seville. It's open every day but Sunday at 5 p.m. for dinner. Tell them that the Lunchbox Mayo and Defo sent you. If you like seafood in a comfortable setting, outdoors, even keel fish shack at the corner of A1A and Commercial Boulevard in Lauderdale by the Sea, upscale food in a down-home setting, the chef owners, Dave and Brad, do a terrific job with all the seafood classics that you want. They have the best grilled oysters in town, bang bang shrimp, lobster rolls, and deli fish specials. They also have weekend brunch Saturday and Sunday. They have deli happy hour 4 to 7, and they also have other weekly specials like mussels on Monday and oysters on Tuesday. Go to Even Keel Fish Shack and tell them that the Lunchbox sent you. Hey, it's Mike Mayo. When the Brooklyn boy in me wants a good bagel with Nova or some matzo ball soup, homemade knishes, or a great deli pastrami sandwich on rye, you know where I go? Grandpa's Cafe in Dania Beach. It's been around a long time, an institution, but a little over a year ago, a pair of New Yorkers came in, bought it, and refurbished the place. It's beautiful, and they are now serving great breakfast, brunch, lunch. They've got the omelets, they've got eggs Benedict, they've got all kinds of great baked goods like rugelach. Grandpa's is just off Federal Highway on Southwest 1st Street in Dania Beach. It's open 7 days. Go in there, tell them that the Lunchbox sent you. The finest quality, warm hospitality, and world-class creativity. Those are the ingredients that make Daniel's, a Florida steakhouse, a special place. Come experience the restaurant that's Michelin Guide recommended and totally Mike Mayo's Lunchbox approved, with an impressive collection of steaks, seafood, and more, like their foie gras creme brulee. Daniel's is located at 620 South Federal Highway in Fort Lauderdale, just south of the New River Tunnel, open Tuesday through Sunday for dinner. For reservations and information, go to danielssteak.com. Fresh local fish, a sophisticated setting. I'm talking about Corvina Seafood Grill. It's at 110 Plaza Real South in Boca Raton, just south of Palmetto Park Road. It's the place to go for the freshest and local seafood and fish, some of it with a Peruvian twist like their great ceviches. It's open 7 days for dinner. They also have happy hours 7 days a week. You don't want to miss it. It's a great place. CorvinaBocaRaton.com for more information and reservations. Tell them the Lunchbox sent you. Same great Thai food, beautiful new location. I'm talking about Eat Thai, now in Boca Raton at 6299 North Federal Highway. Thai cuisine is having a moment, and Chef Sopanut makes some of the best in South Florida. A hip and modern spot with authentic Thai street food and some innovative twists. The spicy oxtail soup, Thai bouillabaisse, shrimp ceviche, and classic noodle dishes will wow you. And they now offer full liquor and craft cocktails too. Open every day but Tuesday for lunch and dinner. Go to eatthaiflorida.com for more information. A tradition for South Florida sports fans for more than 30 years, Shenanigans. It's at 1300 South Federal Highway in Dania Beach, the place to go for all your favorite teams and events and food that's not your ordinary sports bar fare. Award-winning wings, burgers, fresh fish, and more, TV screens galore, and all-day happy hour specials. The kitchen and bar are open into the wee hours, perfect for late-night bites and very close to the airport. For playoff action, football season, and a good time anytime, Shenanigans. Great seafood and more at Mignonette, Miami. It's in the Edgewater neighborhood at 210 Northeast 18th Street, close to the Arch Center and Heat Arena. Mignonette is open every day for dinner, and it serves the freshest fish and raw bar items with a daily selection of the finest oysters around. Chef owner Danny Surfer and his team are eager to please. Mignonette is Michelin Guide recommended and Lunchbox approved. For reservations and information, go to mignonetmiami.com. All right, we're back on the Lunchbox Home Edition. It is our last live show. Aside from Friday, we will be back live from Gulfstream Park, 10 Palms. But we're going to have a couple of encore editions. You could call it best of. from now until the end of the year, starting tomorrow, Christmas Eve. We're going to let everybody get ready for Christmas. And so we'll be having some encore editions the next few days, except for Friday. On Boxing Day, we will be at Gulfstream 10 Palms with a special guest co-host, also our friend Chris Perkins, Perk from the Sun Sentinel, Dolphins columnist. We can do a postmortem or mainly talk food, which I'm sure he'll just probably want to be talking food at this point, except chopped liver, which is what the Dolphins are at this point. But
I'll take the
anyway,
chopped liver over the Dolphins.
Yeah. Little schmaltz. All right, let's get back into the discussions. It is Festivus, and again, it was conceived of by Seinfeld writers, who I guess one of the writers' families actually did come up with Festivus, and but airing of the grievances is one of the rituals. So I don't know if anybody has made a list and checked it twice, but Carlos Frias, relating to food and restaurant world, is there anything that particularly peeves you these days? And make it a general complaint. I don't want to pick on any individual restaurants by name.
Sure.
Yeah.
No, I don't like doing that either. Well, before I forget, so there's a guy named Spike Ferriston who has a podcast called Spike's Car Radio, and he was a former writer on Seinfeld. And Seinfeld, it's basically a car podcast, but they talk car and food and culture. And every week during Festivus, they always have an interesting show. So I haven't heard it yet, but I'm sure it's probably worth checking out. I don't get any money from them. I just find Seinfeld interesting. I find cars interesting, and a guy who worked on Seinfeld, who's got Seinfeld on the show every now and then.
Nice.
Talking about it, I'd recommend that podcast.
I think he might have been the actual writer whose family celebrated Festivus. He might
I
have been
think
the
you're
one
right
behind
about that.
it. Yeah.
I think you're right about. I think he's the guy that whose family was that dysfunctional family who invented Festivus. So here's a recent grievance I had yesterday.
Okay.
It's not necessarily about food business. We talk about food and sports here. Have you followed what happened with Stu Gatz and Dan Le Batard's show?
No.
Are you interested in that
Well,
at
I
all?
saw
Are
that
you,
Stu
you
Sent
guys
me
interested in
something
that?
yesterday about Fox, and I haven't followed that since I left the radio, so I didn't know that they were some kind of a thing.
So Stu Gatz, John Wiener, who founded Waxy and really put together a real powerhouse sports lineup, I guess for a stretch there, has got his own radio show, and he's kind of dropped off the map.
He's not really working with Le Batard anymore.
No, but his name is in the marquee, and supposedly he's going to do some shows next month. Unless, if it doesn't happen, it's because of Dan, is what he said during a podcast in those words.
Wow.
So there's like some real beef
So it
there.
still is called the Dan Le Batard Show. They still have
with Stu Gatz, and
he's not on the show and has his own show.
And let's
Well,
give
he's going to
props.
start a new show, yeah.
Let's give props to Hank Goldberg, who came up with the nickname Stu Gatz when John was his producer. On
Is
the
that
Hank Goldberg
right?
show.
I didn't
Yeah.
realize that.
This
I
is
didn't
true.
realize
Correct,
that.
Defo? True or false?
Yeah,
So-
that's what he called him because he was basically was implying he was a putz.
right. Stu Gatz is a kind of New York Northeast
He's
expression
really a
of a guy who's just kind of a little bit of a putz. So just the Stu Gatz.
I used to like the way Hank screamed it though when he was quickly irritated. with a
We got to
collar.
find that audio because I'm curious. I want to hear Hank.
The
Hank
origin
yelling that.
story. I love origin stories. But yeah, no. Stu Gatz announced that he is going to be syndicated and starting a new nationally syndicated radio show on the Fox sports radio network, which you guys were familiar with. And I guess a afternoon drive time, 3 to 5 slot, 270 stations starting in January. Along with some other content that's also going to be on the iHeart Radio app. So I guess congrats to him. I'm supposed to have lunch this Saturday with Mark Hockman, who obviously is still on the air locally here.
I love him. Please give him my best because we had him when I had the food podcast at the Herald.
Yeah.
La Ventanita. He was on it. He was one of my first guests, and he's obviously a pro, but he was great at just being a food contrarian.
I got to get him
really
on this
enjoy that.
show, but the problem is they're always like getting ready for their show. But he has never been to Primanti Brothers down here. There's 2 locations, and Primanti Brothers, of course, from Pittsburgh. And before the Steelers game, he was talking about Pittsburgh food or lack thereof. And he mentioned how he's never had the whole Primanti Brothers sandwich where you put the French fries and the coleslaw on it. So I said, let's do it. And I think this Saturday we're supposed to go and meet up at the one on Oakland Park Boulevard. Boulevard. But
Well, give him my best, and if you ever do a show, if you ever need a fourth and he's on, please let me know because
he's a big fan. Big fan of Skyline Chili, by the way. We have that mutual bond.
I know there's that mutual deep personality fault. Yeah. I mean,
that's all right.
Skyline's good.
You and Defo are on the same page. You could go.
Listen, I lived in Cincinnati for about 4 months, and that's all people talked about was, are you a Gold Star guy or are you a Skyline guy? And guess what? I had both, and they are both exactly the same. They're both exactly the same. It tastes like it came out of a can. Like 5 minutes before you ordered it, it was in a can, and now it's
your palate has not been
gelatinous lump on top of spaghetti.
Now we see why he has the 2 James beard.
No, I used to respect his palate. There are layers on layers of flavor. The cumin and the cinnamon. And
there are layers and layers upon flavor in my trash can, probably, but it doesn't mean I want to eat it.
All right, there you got that. You got me on that one.
I love it.
I would go a can of Hormel. I almost subliminally, I was reminded of my past. I was blown by the section that had Hormel chili. They were 2 for $1. And for a brief second, I thought about it. And then I remembered those brutal experiences I had at the vending machine at Syracuse, where they had the little tiny can that looked like you're opening a can of cat food. And I think that's what it was in actuality. But I would rather have Hormel chili out of a can than Skyline.
Wow. Okay. Hey, I did get a bit of Skyline chili news the other day that they are now in the Cincinnati area in the Kroger supermarkets selling a Skyline chili pizza, a frozen pizza topped with Skyline chili and those mounds of shredded cheddar cheese. I don't even
will this country never hit rock bottom?
There you go, Carlos.
Every day a new indignity.
You might have one.
We keep going lower, and yes, some people do have Skyline derangement syndrome. So that's it. Let's move over to Defo. Do you have any? Grievances?
Restaurant world? I think this was on Let's Eat South Florida. It might have been somewhere else. I saw it on Facebook. And this struck me, but it's not my big beef. But just an aside, since it's restaurant related, somebody posted a check for like $186, and they were asking how much they should tip. And I was startled to see the lowball figures that were listed on a restaurant site. If it was Let's Eat South Florida, you would know if this was there or somewhere else. But and most people were 18 and under.
Oh, geez. $18 or 18%?
$18.
$18
on 180, a 10% tip.
A 10%.
I would give 40, and then sort of feel bad, but I probably would give 40.
Maybe it was Let's Eat Montreal. I'm not sure.
$18, 186.
I'm thinking you're looking at. I mean, if you were just doing the straight up math, you're at 35, 36, no matter what. You're probably going 40, and then there's a situation, and this happens with some friends of mine when we're divvying up the check. I notice they always lowball the tip, but we're sitting in a sports bar for 3 hours at one table. The tables aren't turning over. When you leave, no one's coming in for the 4 o'clock games, and they're calculating like 15% tips for the server. And I'm thinking, you got to go
20 to 25.
You got to tack on an extra 20 for the fact that you sat there all day. I mean, don't be getting out the calculator at that point. If it's $180 and you sat there all day, at least throw them a 50 or something. To compensate for the fact that they weren't able to serve like 3-4 different parties in that period of time. But I was shocked. I really found that devastating in terms of my faith in humanity, that people are still looking at tips. And many comments were, well, why should we tip at all?
Oh, Jesus. Really?
Because they don't get paid a living wage.
Because tipping is a thing that only exists in America and goes back to post-slavery U.S. Indentured servitude.
If you're in Italy and you don't want to tip, that's fine. I mean, but don't do that.
It's just cheap.
Go
ahead.
You know what, Colbert? I was going to say Colbert. The folks who are still into that show, or actually, it was. John Oliver. John Oliver did a whole thing on tipping. So if you go on YouTube and you look for John Oliver tipping, he did one like in the last couple weeks, and it was really interesting to hear about the background and history of where tipping comes from, and certain states who are trying to raise the that reduced minimum wage.
Minimum
I forget
wage,
what
right.
it called. And it's a really interesting thing that it's more interesting for you to watch it than for me to summarize it.
Okay.
But,
But the bottom line is this: like, if it's a full service sit down restaurant where you're being served from start to finish, these days minimum really should be 20%, and a
Yeah.
lot of places
And I would go
because
back and look. Defo just made. I would have thrown 40, and I probably would have felt bad about throwing 40. To be brutally honest.
the thing is that this
40 at
day-
least would have been reasonable.
No, I would do between 20 and 25%. I try to go over 25%. If it's a bigger bill like that, it's $40. So I don't feel so bad. I've been worked tip jobs. But like, come on, man. Like Brian said it, like if you've worked any kind of a tip job, you have it ingrained in you that you gotta at least, or at least if you've been around, like you guys are around restaurants, so that like so everyone should have a job like that because there's no way this 10%. This isn't the 1960s. Like you can't throw 10%. Like that's just insane.
No, unless it's a takeout situation, and I guess I know a lot of people get peeved because they just like buy something at a retail store now and they have a tip screen staring them in the face, or you're buying just.
I carry a tip jar with me wherever I go. When I'm walking, I just have a tip jar.
It's a good idea. I accept horse tips, and usually those don't come in. But no, but again, like when you're talking about a full service and it's $180, I used to be like, oh, you don't compute the tax on, you don't compute the tip on the tax, or you don't, for a bottle of wine. But those days are over. I just do a straight 20% on the total bill, including the tax. So in a case of $180 bill, I'm throwing them $36 to $40 because they just need, give them that 20 to 25% range because they're working
like when
hard.
they're weighing the cold cuts at a grocery store. Always go a little over.
Yeah.
Whatever the calculated percentages, and it's amazing how much 3/100ths of a pound of roast beef costs today. Because you go from the price that you're expecting to pay to all. How did that thing get to be $17.05? What are you talking about here? Well, you want to take it off.
But
That's
again,
good.
be generous with your servers. And again, Carlos,
most folks should know that most servers make a little over $2 an hour.
Yeah.
So if you don't tip them, in Florida, it's
it's up to $11 an hour
like
because it's only $3 below the mandatory minimum for the non-tipped people.
So it's 11 in Florida now.
It's 11, and
it's
actually, this is
hammering restaurants like hammering.
It's a valid point for some restaurants, especially high-end ones, where the management and the margins are already thin, and servers that are making $300-400 a night from tips. Then to have to, cut them, another check that's paying them $11 an hour instead of the $4 an hour. It seems like there should be some sort of wiggle room for high-end places where servers are already making $500 a night, without the guaranteed hourly rate. But that's another story for another day. The bottom line is this. You're seeing a lot of places impose automatic service charges now, the 18 and 20%. And if they do that, it's because there's so many cheap people out there, like we saw on that post, that's just doing the 10% or even the 12 or the 15%. So these restaurants then impose their own automatic gratuities, and people bristle then when they are asked for, on top of the 20%, another additional tip. I don't bristle. Sometimes I'll round up depending on the meal I had and the service I got. But
you know what I don't like, though? This would be a beef. I don't like that thing where the guy's carrying the credit card, thing, and then it suggests which tip you would like to pay, and then you can customize a tip. But I'd much rather just get the check and be able to leave when I want to leave. And
not he's holding it in front of you like
I hate that. I really, that bothers me. I don't know why.
Those
handheld, as you're reaching for the 18%, he kind of his eyes.
He looks over and
I don't like it. It's sort of like should be a private piece of business that you leave the tip, and hopefully the person, if you're leaving generous tips, acknowledges it, says, "Hey, thank you very much. I can't wait to see you again." Which is
whatever happened to discretion. Yeah, they're just hovering over you like a hawk.
It's not their fault. I mean, it's just the way the system is set up.
Right.
Yeah. Lubie, do you have any?
I was going to talk not the restaurant industry in general, but like doing this show and being at with a lot of restaurateurs, and look, I don't do it myself. I'll use these apps to then go pick up food because we would rather go right directly to the restaurant. Again, give them all the money I can and not pay these service fees. But like hearing that Uber Eats is up to like 30% from restaurants, like that's insane. Like it's literally it's the thing where Uber was cool at the beginning because it was cheaper than cabs, and now it's not. Like I get it becomes a valued entity and it's a business, so you want to raise prices, but that's insane. Like 30%, like that's like, and again, a lot of these like a Wicked Cheesesteaks, which we love. I never would have found them if not for one of these apps. So they're useful, they're great, but they've taken so advantage of the system that and a lot of these businesses rely on it, so they have to do it, but it bankrupts them. Like I think there's got to be a happy medium there where okay, the 15% was one thing, but doubling it to 30%, like a lot of these like delivery apps have lost their mind, and I think that is a disservice to the industry, and it makes me sad because it's actually an interesting way to find out about a lot of restaurants. And my wife, that's where we found a lot of restaurants, is going there, and it's useful for these restaurateurs. But how do you survive on? Like if that's where you get a line share of your business, that's a huge, especially with what you said, the margins now are utterly insane because again, prices are so high. You can't keep, unless you're some of these really nice places, the middle of the road, the lower level places can't keep raising their prices. They've hit sort of a ceiling. So their profits are way down. So to then jam them for 30%, like it's utterly ridiculous.
Well, it's one reason. Well, mindful diners and people who know the restaurant industry know, don't order from these apps. Whenever you can, go directly to the restaurant. And even if you're doing a pickup, takeout to eat at home, just go directly, cut out the middleman because they are getting squeezed hard. And they also do raise the prices that they post on those apps, again, because they figure people who want convenience are willing to pay for it. But there comes a point where these companies, and I was talking to an Uber driver, the old fashioned just going for an Uber ride, not even Uber Eats. And he was saying they've been getting hammered. And that, they raise fees and fares on the riders and the customers, and also the drivers are getting less. And eventually they're all going to be replaced by these driverless cars anyway. So where are we headed? It's a very not a good place, but it's life is a minefield, and it provides us all kinds of good things to gripe about. So for that, I guess we are thankful on this Festivus. Let's take our second break, and then I'll come back with a couple of grievances that were posted on the Let's Eat group, and then a couple of my own, and then we'll wrap up this edition. But first, before we get to that second break, quick word about our friends at Norman Love Confections. They are great. I've been giving these chocolates out for the holidays, and everybody has been thrilled when they open up their box and see such pretty, beautiful, artisanal chocolates. They look like little precious jewels. Oh, but once you taste them, you can't stop eating them. NormanLoveConfections.com is a place that you could go get them online. A little too late to ship them in time for Christmas, but not too late for New Year's or after that. And of course, Valentine's Day will be coming up. NormanLoveConfections.com is the website. But better yet, if is not too late to pick it up for Christmas Eve or Christmas Day as a last-minute stocking stuffer. If you go to one of their two dessert salons, one of them is in Boca Raton, right there at 21202 St. Andrews Boulevard, just very close to the Town Center Mall, and also in Delray Beach at 1911 South Federal Highway. And if you need a little breather after shopping, these dessert salons are a great place to decompress, have a nice little cup of coffee or a hot chocolate, which is also exquisite. They have pastries, they have macarons, they have so many good things. We love Norman Love Confections. I'm so happy that we've gotten to know the brand. Again, they are new to South Florida, and you should get to know it too, because it is delicious, and everybody deserves a nice little indulgent treat from time to time. NormanLoveConfections.com. All right, let's take the second break, and we'll come back and wrap up this edition of the Lunchbox. Do you love Italian food? I mean, who doesn't love Italian food? Well, have I got a great new place for you, Elvis Italian Grill. It's at 4261 Griffin Road in Dania Beach, right near State Road 7 and the Hard Rock Casino. It's named for its owner, Elvis, and it has all your favorites: pizzas, pastas, veal chops, fresh fish, lunch specials, happy hour, and has one of my favorite chefs, the wonderful Manuela. There's full bar, great wines, al fresco dining on the deck with a water view. Open for lunch and dinner every day but Monday. For reservations and information, go to ElvisItalianGrill.com. Delicious Mexican food with innovative twists. Margaritas with a medley of tongue-tingling flavors. I'm talking about Taco Craft, Taqueria, and Tequila Bar. The place to go on Taco Tuesday and every day. It's located at 510 North Federal and Highway in Fort Lauderdale, and also in Lauderdale by the Sea at Plantation Walk and Coral Springs. Taco Craft has specials every day, including bottomless drinks for a Sunday brunch and Taco Tuesdays, including their new burrito tacos with bone marrow broth. Oh, it's so good. They've even made a taco lover out of me, and they've got so much more, including fajitas, that open face smashed cheeseburger tortilla that's new, and a guacamole sample that's an explosion of flavors. The kitchen is open late. There's delivery and takeout. For more information, go to tacocraft.com. Tell them Mike Mayo, the Lunchbox, sent you. Hey, it's Mayo for Gilbert's 17th Street Grill. You know me, I love family-run places with quality food at fair prices served with passion and pride. And that's why I love Gilbert's. For more than a decade, Lenore, Beth, and Richie Gilbert have been serving up the best burgers, wings, ribs, salads, and desserts. It's a fast casual spot. Everything prepared fresh to order from an immaculate open kitchen. They're at 1821 Cordova Road in Fort Lauderdale in the Cordova Shops just south of 17th Street. Open every day but Sunday. One of my favorite burgers in South Florida. Big, round, juicy pucks of 100% Angus beef, char grilled to perfection. And don't miss the sweet potato fries on the side. They're legendary. Go to Gilbert's, feast, and be happy. Tell them the Lunchbox sent you.
Hey Lunchbox fans, is it time to sell your business? You've poured your heart and soul into your restaurant or business, and you want to see continue the legacy you have built. Transworld can help. Call me, Andy Cagnetta, at Transworld Business Advisors right now and see if it's time for you to retire and relax. Iconic brands like the Mai Kai, Mulligan's, Carlos and Pepe's, Mangoes, and many more turn to Transworld to help sell. Contact Transworld on Facebook or call 954-772-1122 or visit tworld.com. Again, that's 954-772-1122 or tworld.com.
When I'm looking for some wicked good food for a wicked good lunch, there's only one place to go. That's Wicked Cheesesteaks in Fort Lauderdale. It's at 4824 North Federal Highway, just south of Commercial Boulevard and across from Holy Cross Hospital. My friend Brian there, he will hook you up with some really tasty treats. They've got cheesesteaks just like the best you can find in Philly, along with lobster rolls, because that's where he's from, Maine originally. And they have wings and pizza and everything you want to have a really good time. Wicked Cheesesteaks. They're open every day but Tuesday. Check them out online, wickedcheesesteaks.com. Tell them the Lunchbox sent you. Guess who's back and better than ever? Juan's. For the best in classic old school Chinese cuisine, a family-run South Florida favorite since 1966. It's at 664 North Federal Highway in Fort Lauderdale, open every day but Tuesday for lunch and dinner. Chef Alex is carrying on the family tradition that started 4 generations ago. It used to be known as Christina Juan's Mandarin House, and you're going to love it as Juan's. They've got all your favorites: wonton soup, spare ribs, egg rolls, dumplings, Peking duck, and more. Combo lunch specials daily and takeout and delivery. For more information, go to their Instagram page at wans.fl. If you're looking for a great place for steaks, seafood, and more, go to Tropical Acres Steakhouse and Butcher Shop. It's at 2500 Griffin Road in Dania, just west of I-95 in the airport. They've been there a long time, since 1949. That means they're doing something right. You'll get old school hospitality from the Studiali family, along with great value, for tremendous service. Of course, you could also go into the bar for happy hour every day, 4 to 6, and they have great value all night long. Also, a butcher shop that's open every day from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. except Sunday. The dining room is open every day at 4:30 except Sunday. Go to Tropical Acres. Tell them the Lunchbox sent you. Ooh, I think I'm at the Defo household. We're actually dog sitting this week, Val and I, Dulcie, and I guess the garbage truck just rode by. So apologies for the barking. But
what happened to Lubie's dog? He used to bark in the background.
My dog
No,
rarely
it's
barks.
good.
He's not a big barker. That's
Oh,
thank
okay.
God, because his bark is loud and deep. He's not. He's actually.
I thought you got rid of the dog when you had the
Oh, he's
baby.
here. No, I love him. He's my heart and soul. No, he's just not a huge barker. Thank God. My cat's more annoying than my dog.
So anyway, we're back for the
My
Festivus.
son, who's crying right now in the other room, actually.
And I wanted to, I guess, I posted a couple of mine on the group. One related to group, like Facebook in general just pisses me off all the time because they change things all the time. And now they have this really annoying option where it allows people to post using nicknames. Now it's not an anonymous posting, which we don't allow in the group, but now people can basically come up with a nickname and use it as an alias where people can't see their real profile. And I understand it's really obnoxious when people start looking at your profile, what you put out publicly, and then they try to shame you. And I think that's not cool either. We don't allow that. But the whole nickname post, Tom Tanazzini actually called out people. Unfortunately, there's no way for us as group admins to turn off that nickname feature. So we don't allow posts from nicknames, but occasionally there's so many people now, 225,000 people in the group, Carlos. So there are nicknames that are getting through in comments, but we don't like that. I like to just say, like a lot of restaurant people, own your shit. So like public group, if you have an opinion, and just put your name and face out there, because that's what me and Carlos did, and what Defo and Lubie did as media members all the time. We didn't hide behind pseudonyms and nicknames. But that's a minor one. And then related to restaurants, I hate when you go and first sit down and your server is all over you like white on rice, where they're saying, how about an appetizer? They're trying to upsell. The first 10 minutes, are you ready to order yet? You don't know anything, but they're like hitting you. But then when it's time for the check, you can't find them. They pull the Houdini act. I would think they'd want to turn the table and get the check.
Turn the table. I never understood that either. Don't you're full, you got folks waiting. This time where you have not taken my money is costing you more money. It's a diminishing return. Just come get your money.
Well,
come get your money and your 20%, which is what it should be.
Yes,
at all costs. Even if you hate it. Yeah. Even if you hate it, 18 at the it's got to be 20. It's got to be 20.
If it's 18, it's if you ordered the $100 bottle of wine, because that will kick up the bill. But
right.
But again, 20. Just make it 20.
At least 20.
Just make it
Factor
20.
that into your cost of doing business and going out to eat. If you can't, then just, as we like to say, stay home. All right. Here's some of the other comments from people about their grievances. Michael K says, please don't ask me how everything is while I'm chewing. To which somebody replied, they do that so they can't hear you complain.
How's everything? Good? Great. I'll be right back.
Connie,
it's like when the dentist starts asking you personal questions while they got clamps. And drool is coming out. And kids are great.
Connie Ogle from the Miami Herald, friend of Carlos, chimes
in. Show.
I'm aggrieved that I didn't get to eat those latkes with caviar. Sorry.
Oh, nice. Well, there we go. You all heard some latkes.
Can I say that blue collar, if you're just like one of the plebes, you can go. Yes. Blue collar makes a version where I think they use
trout roe.
Yeah.
Yes,
trout roe, and it's really nice. A creme fraiche and trout roe, and it's Danny does those are really nice. I think they're called like the Royal Latkes or something like that.
Yeah, no, it's good. We've had them because he's one of our great sponsors now. He's actually on a staycation. We were originally supposed to be in at Mignonette today, but he had to reschedule because him and his wife stayed at the newly refurbished Pier 66 with 4 kids. That kind of surprised me, but I say hello to Danny. But yeah, those potato latkes that he serves year round with the trout roe, very, very good. All right, Lori D says, when certain members here put nothing but laughing emojis on every single post and offer absolutely no comment of value. That's true. Let's see. Deborah Z says, the ubiquitous loud thumping techno music and hard uncomfortable chairs in restaurants now, yearning for more posh and comfortable dining experience options. And you know why they do that, Carlos, right?
I don't.
What is loud music and the uncomfortable chairs?
Oh, that was so you leave.
Keep it moving.
They turn tables quicker. Yeah. I've heard that from
what's funny? I had a discussion with for me it's the loudness, right? Like I think that the difference between, like, you can really elevate a restaurant if you add something as simple as acoustic paneling. So I did something that I never do, which is, unless I'm reviewing a restaurant, for whatever reason, or I'm, something I'm independently writing about it, where I'll make critiques of it. But I went to a restaurant that I really liked. Actually, I'll mention it because I think it's a great example of it. I went to a place called Dojo Izakaya. It's the new. It's kind of I don't want to say downscale, but a little bit more relaxed scale restaurant from Pablo Zitzman of Zitzum, here in Coral Gables. and it's this wonderful restaurant, man, where the food is all, it's some shareable portions, some individual smaller tasting portions, real mixing of like Asian and Latin American influences in the food. Really delicious. I mean, really one of the best meals I had this year.
Oh, wow.
And I went twice. Once as an invitation from the folks of the Infatuation who were doing an event there, and once just my partner and I, like last seating available, like at 9:45 at night. The only negative was it was so loud. I mean, it was loud, like not
Ear
like there are
splitting,
many, not that there are too many people or the music is too loud. There's reverberation, right? Like it's concrete on the ceiling and the sides
or
and everything.
acoustics, yes.
And I sent a note to him and I said, hey, listen, I know it's totally uncalled for, but I happened to come into dinner last night, and if I can make one suggestion and critique, and it's one that I can make a lot of restaurants, is acoustic paneling.
Yeah.
And he writes me back, we ordered it last night.
Right.
Nice.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry. And Val, she does a lot of acoustic kind of work. She does some stuff in restaurants, and she's always critiquing lighting and acoustics of restaurants when we go out to eat. I used to just focus on food, but I've become much more aware of it. I'm surprised that you apologize before giving notes to restaurateurs because I am shameless with that. Even when they don't want it, but I always make my constructive criticism. I mean, like you said,
because if you ask, usually, if you ask me, if I'm there for work, it's for work and it's all fair game.
Yep.
If I'm just there on my own,
right,
and you don't ask, I rarely will say, hey, but if you ask me, I will say. But it's one of the rare times where I was not asked and I had a great meal and I said, what a shame that this one thing and I said, listen, I mentioned it. I was doing a review of a restaurant just a couple spots down called Luca, which is a Italian place from Giorgio Rapicavoli. And I remember saying something like, if they don't like writing in the story, if something like along the lines of, if they'd only have some acoustic paneling just to absorb a little bit of the sound, then it would make so much of a difference. And like a month later, they had acoustic paneling,
good.
And it made
perfectly
all the
valid,
difference.
appropriate note. And again, it's sometimes a little bit of an investment makes it a much more comfortable experience, and you'd be more inclined to go back again and again. All right, a couple of more, and then we'll get out of here. Our friend Chip Namius, the former PR director extraordinaire of several NFL teams, including the Dolphins, says, I don't like it when people write a snarky, sarcastic, mean, but more importantly, non-constructive comment about someone's well-meaning post. What's the point of that? And I agree. Like sometimes I like to have a little fun and I might be a little snarky, but I will always address somebody's main point. Like if they're looking for the best tiramisu, because whenever somebody asks for the best is so subjective. So I always say, best is the one you like. And then I say the ones I like are here. So that's my little snark. But again, Chip, you're right. If all you're doing is being snarky and mean, then stick a fork in that. We've got one from James K. Sarney. His complaints include restaurants that charge $4 for a Coke, hosts that are always looking down at their cell phones, fish and chips without coleslaw. That's a bizarre one. Brownies with nuts, and restaurants without TVs, of course, Jim. And then let's see. And then last but not least, a friend of the show, Stephen Eckert, who is a past contest winner and often plays the contest. He chimes in when people in LESF ask legitimate questions and then responses from people are McDonald's or Wawa. That's obnoxious and should not be. Absolutely true. So there you have it. That is, the people are speaking on Let's Eat South Florida about their grievances. And as one commenter did rightly point out, isn't every day on Let's Eat South Florida Festivus. It's not really a annual occurrence. It's a daily occurrence, the airing of the grievances. But that's okay. As long as we get some content to talk about here on the show, it's all good. So, Carlos, enjoy your holidays. I hope your Feast of Seven Fishes goes on.
Yeah, good luck. That sounds amazing.
I will document it, and I'll share some whatever's appropriate on Instagram. Just follow me at Carlos Frias Official.
And yeah, anything new on tap for 26? Anything you're working on that we should be looking for? Or, and is that the thing you narrated at the Freedom Tower? Is that still ongoing, or have they already turned that into the Trump Library?
Oh, fortunately, it's supposed to be part of the permanent exhibition, but that might just be Trump's bedroom by the time we're done talking about the whole thing. I will say there's a couple restaurants that I'm going to be looking at that are opening in the first month in January of 2026 that I'm really interested in and really excited about. Tinta y Cafe opened a restaurant called Tintin. It's just like a couple days old, which I'm very curious about. The folks from Caracas Bakery opening a restaurant on the beach called Vecinos, Neighbors, on 31st and Indian Creek. And Fuchs, which had a Persian French restaurant downtown that closed during the pandemic, and he turned it into a pizza joint called 11th Street Pizza. He's opening in a beautiful new space, and I just kind of checked it out from the outside. That looks like it's going to be really interesting. So those are three I'm looking at.
F-O-O-K-S, is that how
F-O-O-Q apostrophe S. His name is David Fouquier.
Okay.
So very careful with that pronunciation.
Oh, I know. It's kind of like
exactly.
that. It's kind of like the, what is it, the Thai place, Phuc, or
That's
that
right.
Vietnamese.
That's right.
P-H-U-C.
That's right.
Y-E-A. Anyway, Carlos, we thank you for your time today. Very generous as usual. We
Merry
hope
Christmas,
you have
sir.
a very happy, healthy holiday season and a happy, healthy, and prosperous
Happy New Year.
2026. As for us, we'll be back live on Friday. But until then, tune in every day at 1 o'clock. If you need a little break from all the holiday festivities, we'll be showing some of our good shows from this past month. So until next time, a Merry Christmas, everybody. Happy Festivus. And we'll see everybody on Friday. Until then, enjoy every sandwich.